Why do some seniors get sicker when they go into hospital? And what can you do about it? That's coming up next on The Wrinkle. So you may have had this experience if you've had a family member who's a senior who's been admitted to hospital. People come to hospital because they're not feeling well. They're hopeful that the specialized care that a hospital has will help them to feel better and get back home. But that doesn't always happen. The reasons why are complex, and some of them we can change, some we can't. But let's unpack this a little. So when a senior comes to hospital, it's often because they are unwell. They have some symptoms that could indicate an infection, a heart attack, one of a number of things. It could also be a medication adverse reaction. The first place that a senior goes is the emergency department. After being admitted to hospital, the treatment can be initiated in the emerge, but sometimes there's a wait for a hospital bed. Emergency department care is excellent, and many of those people go above and beyond, but it's not the same as being in a hospital bed and getting the nursing and the other professional team members to do an assessment and to start care. When someone does get to a hospital bed, there are often things that are part of care, but they can get in the way of recovery. It kind of sounds counterintuitive or sounds almost like an oxymoron. Like, how would hospital care get in the way of care or get in the way of recovery? But it can. So in our videos that we talked about delirium, we talked about some of the things that can contribute to delirium. And all of these things that can cause a delirium can cause somebody to get sicker or weaker when they're in hospital. Those are things like being in bed and not moving around, not getting up and walking. Sometimes people's mobility is restricted for safety reasons, but sometimes it's also because we haven't had an opportunity to really assess how the person can move safely. So the default is to restrict mobility until we get that information. Same with diet. When someone is very sick, we often will restrict their intake. So we might say they can't have thin fluids, which would include water, or maybe it's not even safe for them to swallow at all. So somebody might not get enough nutrition and hydration, or they might be getting it through an IV or another tube. That's a tether. Remember tethers? They're things that tie people down. They usually come out of a body orifice like nose, mouth, penis, if it's a bladder catheter. And then they're attached to the bed or the wall, and that ties a person down. Being on bed rest can also cause a person's bones to lose some of their calcium and to kind of become weaker. And same thing with muscles. You know, you probably remember a time when you had to be on bed rest or restricted activity for a while. And then when you went back to activity, you felt like, whoa, you were weak as a kitten. And that happens naturally in everyone. In seniors, unfortunately, that process is accelerated. So spending time in bed, a person can lose, the average person loses about 5% of muscle strength for just one day in bed. In seniors, that's amplified by about 5 times. So it's very, very important to get moving as soon as it's safely possible. We've talked on The Wrinkle before about delirium, and that's definitely a hazard of being in hospital. About 25% of seniors who are sick enough to be admitted to hospital can develop a delirium. Delirium is a condition where the body is sick and the brain kind of pays the price. It causes fluctuations in thinking and alertness, and it can really get in the way of a person's recovery because when someone is delirious, it can be hard to follow instructions, take medications. It just makes things really difficult. Most of the time, delirium gets better, but while a person is in delirium, it makes things more challenging. And some people don't seem to get back to their baseline after having a delirium. Are you getting enough wrinkle? Let me rephrase. Are you getting enough of the wrinkle? If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up, and if you didn't, give it a thumbs down, but please hit the subscribe button and the little notification bell, and that way you'll never miss a video. We do upload twice a week, and we have our Jerry Minute on Twitter and Facebook twice a week as well. All the links are below. I'd love to hear from you. Please leave a comment, and I'll see you next time on The Wrinkle.